Okay, today we're going to talk about Algebra 2, the second 9, Objective 8, which is finding the zeros and sketching the parabola or sketching the quadratic. Now we can find the zeros. What I mean by zeros is x-intercepts by either the square root method, the factoring method, or using technology. Now, technology will work every time, and if when I explain that makes the most sense to you, then by all means use that. In this 9 weeks, we've already done the square root method where we've solved something like x squared minus 16 equals 0. We got the x squared by itself and took the square root of both sides. When do you use factoring? Well, most of the time if it's in ax squared plus bx plus c, and you can set up and solve the diamond. When to use technology? Sometimes when it's in vertex form, or it's an ax squared plus bx plus c, but we can't factor it, so we know it's going to be a decimal of some sort. Now to find the zeros, we just let f of x equals 0 or y equals 0 and solve that out. So we're going to look at some examples. So the first one I want to look at is f of x equals x squared minus 25. Now if I was doing this problem, and again I want to find the intercepts, or the x-intercept, the zeros, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to let f of x equals 0. So I'd have 0 equals x squared minus 25. Again, since I only have an x squared, it's probably easiest in this case to do the square root method, because the technology, you're going to have a lot of steps that you have to go through. So we would solve this by adding 25 to both sides. So I'd get 25 equals x squared. Then we talked about taking the square root of both sides. And when I do that, remember I'm going to have two answers. I'm going to have plus or minus. The square root of 25 is 5, would equal x. Now what that tells me then is my two x-intercepts are 5 and negative 5. So when we're sketching this, and again I'm not looking for anything too drastic on the sketch here, we have an x-intercept at 5 and we have an x-intercept at negative 5. Now again, it's just a sketch. We've talked about other things with the quadratic. We've talked about how to find the vertex using technology. We've talked about the line of symmetry and things like that. But really on this problem, what I'm having you concentrate on is finding the zeros, understanding that a in this case would be an imaginary 1, so that tells me it opens up. So we know our parabola is going to be go through our x-intercepts and open up. Again, I'm not concerned about the vertex, not concerned about the y-intercept really. I'm just concerned about you finding the zeros and being able to graph it. We'll put it all together some other time on another type of problem where we make a more accurate sketch. Okay, number 2, f of x equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. So again, we substitute f of x in for 0. So we'd have 0 equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. So we've just got done solving problems like that using the diamond. So if we check the diamond here, you have negative 8 on top because 1 times negative 8 and 2 on the bottom. So 4 times negative 2 would give me negative 8, and 4 plus negative 2 would give me 2. So that means I would have 0 equals x plus 4 times x minus 2. So when we solve, it becomes the opposite. So one x-intercept is at negative 4 and one x-intercept at positive 2. So again we have x-intercept at negative 4 and an x-intercept at positive 2. Again, since a is a positive 1 here, or a positive number, we know it opens up. So we're just going to draw a parabola that goes through those x-intercepts and opens up. Now, before we look at example 3, I'm going to have you write down the steps that we would use to graph this on Technology, and then we'll go through that together. But again, our first step is to put the equation in y1. After we put it in y1, then we're going to hit zoom 6 to graph it if it's not in your standard window. Then we're going to hit second trace and select number 2, which stands for the 0 of the functions. Then it's going to say left bound, so we want to move our cursor to the left of the x-intercept we're trying to find. Hit enter. Then right of the x-intercept we're trying to find, hit enter. And then finally in between it, hit enter. I know it sounds a little complicated. I'll explain it as we go through it. So number 3 that we're going to look at is f of x equals 3x squared minus 4x minus 5. So again, we plug in 0 for f of x, so I got 0 equals 3x squared minus 4x minus 5. Now if